guys, so this is Steven from Dragon here. So we interviewing another fine gentleman in the performance world. So this is a Corolla, nicknamed Gingery. So we're just gonna walk over here and have a talk with Dan. Hey Dan, how you doing?
Not bad. How's it going, man?
Good, good, good. How is it? How is everything going with your project?
Same old, just trying to get the all-wheel drive working on it. Yeah, I guess maybe I'll tell you a little bit of history about it, how this whole car started off. I bought this car about 3 years ago for around $200. It was my daily, and the motor blew up on it, and I found this 3S GTE motor over here from the JDM place, and I'm like, should I spend about the same amount of money and get a replacement 1ZZ, or should I try and make this 3S GTE work in here? So I just figured, let's try making the 3S GTE work in here. It'll make the car a lot more fun to drive and everything. So it started its life as a stock 3S with just the CT20B turbo. I ran a Camry V6 front-wheel drive transmission, and it ran pretty good times on the CT20B. It went, it was 12.1, 116 with all the boost.
Wow, that's impressive. Not much people with a Corolla have ever seen those times before.
So yeah, basically we ran that, and that wasn't fast enough for me. So I later upgraded to this Borg Warner over here. It's an S257. And then we, instead of running the stock ECU, we upgraded to a Mega Squirt system with 2000cc injectors running E85.
E85. So how do you find the E85 like when it comes to tuning? Like, is it better than say 116 race cars?
So basically, I like the E85 because it cools down the combustion chamber quite a bit. So you have to spray like maybe around 160 more % fuel compared to an equivalent amount of pump gas to make the same amount of power on it.
So basically, you need more pump, more injectors.
Exactly.
And I guess a content sensor.
Yeah, so that's the content sensor over here right under the regulator, and this is running a full flex fuel.
All right, sorry about that, guys. Battery died in the camera. So we were talking about the content sensor.
Yeah, so basically this car's running a full flex fuel setup. I can pump any ratio of pump gas to ethanol, basically, and the ECU will compensate for the ethanol content. That's basically what flex fuel vehicle does. So there's no need to drain the tank or anything if I want to run E85. It's very convenient. It's good to daily on. You can just mix it with whatever ratio.
Oh, okay, so you could mix it, and the computer does all the conversion.
Exactly,
so,
yeah. So I'll show you the computer that it's running.
Okay.
It's right around here. If you just want to go to the passenger side. It's not very popular on these platforms. Usually people go with the plug and play, but this is a Mega Squirt MS3X system. Not too good there, but yeah, it's been wired in. Like, it's not a plug and play system, so you have to pretty much know like the theory behind EFI systems, and anyone can learn it. You just Google it, whatever.
Okay, so you did the whole wiring yourself.
Exactly, and the manual is very detailed. I printed out myself a copy. As you can see, it's pretty thick.
Yeah.
And
that is a thick dictionary, right?
but I'll show you the wiring diagrams.
Encyclopedia.
That's the main system wiring diagram.
Okay.
And you know, as I went along with it, I would just write down which pin, and you just basically match the pin on the ECU harness to the corresponding pin on the standalone, right? It's not too hard. And yeah, just some more notes of when I was doing the install on it. But you know what? Like, even though it's a good amount of work to do it, it's well worth it. It gives you full control of everything that the car needs to run, and it just puts all the power at your fingertips.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I guess is this drag radials?
These are drag radials. These are my street tires that I was running. These are the Mickey Thompsons ET Street Rs.
Nice.
Yeah, they're probably the best tire I ever used on the street.
So, Dan, tell us. So what is your crazy project for this summer that you are working on?
So basically right now I got sick and tired of this car being front wheel drive and can't get the power down and everything. So I'm attempting to make this thing all wheel drive.
Okay, all right. If you want to show us a little bit.
Yeah,
of
no problem.
Your secrets.
All right, so do you want to start from the back or do you want to start from the front?
Well, okay, let's start from the front.
So what we have here, we're running the Celica all-track drivetrain. So this is the transmission that you would find in like a GT4 Celica from an ST205.
Right.
So yeah, it's pretty, it's a WRC transmission basically. It has an oil pump inside and you can run an oil cooler to it. And it's been tried and tested in the rally world, so I think it'll be perfect for this setup.
Oh, okay, so this will be a very good addition to your power plant.
Oh yeah. And got them to work with some RAV4 axles because I can't find the Celica axles here, plus I think they'll be a little too long. So
Also, the RAV4 fits perfectly.
yeah, the RAV4 axles fit this setup perfectly.
Oh, nice.
And yeah, if you want to come over here, you can see how the transfer case, the center differential, it just sneaks in very tightly under the steering rack up here.
Right.
Had to cut the factory cross member here. We'll end up tubing it later on down the line.
Oh, okay. Nice.
And
Nice.
then the drive shaft will run down here. We got a good clear stretch over here, no problem for it to fit. But as we come back, the tunnel kind of gets lower, and I'd imagine I'm going to have to open up this tunnel just a little bit more to cut the top off it.
Right.
And just make enough space so the drive shaft can have a clear shot to the rear end over here.
Oh, okay, yes, because basically the way how it's sitting right now, the drive shaft will have to go a little bit higher.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And this again is a rear end from an ST, this is from ST185 actually, this rear end. I chose to go with the ST185 because it's not as wide as the ST205.
Right.
But all the ratios are all the same for the final drive. So we'll have no issues with that. And the main hurdle with this is we have to weld mounts. Right now I just have a couple of 2x4s here just for the sake of mocking it up and see how everything fits. And we're going to have to weld onto the frame directly. I've got a couple of boxes here. Couple of boxes here that I made up that we're going to weld to the frame over here, like so,
Oh, okay.
in the proper position. And I'll have to put a square tube over there just to give a little extra
For
support.
more support. Oh,
Exactly, yeah. And we'll be using the original mounting hardware as well that you would find in the ST185 or the 205, the actual factory studs and nuts for it. So.
Oh, okay, I see. And I see you got some coilovers in the rear here. What's this, BC?
These are custom-made BC coilovers. They're basically an ST185 coilover with a Corolla top mount.
Right.
So then it fits perfectly, and we worked out the lengths and everything. It just fell together very, very well. We didn't have to modify it to be taller or shorter or anything like that.
So
It's
the
a very
BC guys, they work with you in order to get this suited
Oh,
for
definitely.
this vehicle.
Yeah, their customer service is very good. If you need anything like custom spec or whatever,
Right.
they can hook you up with that.
Did you get this through them directly, or you went through somebody else?
I have a guy I deal with, Velocity Racing Performance. He hooks me up with all my
Velocity Racing.
parts. Yeah, a good customer service and everything. I
Yes.
appreciate his help.
Yeah, that's a good company.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry about the noise. It's just for this season here, 2019.
Basically, my goal this year is for the car just to go down the track in one piece because I've never undertaken a project like this before. I just want to make sure that everything's working properly
Right.
and that we have no issues with the car itself before we actually start to raise a boost and stuff. So I just want a clean pass with a good 60 foot. That's all I can ask for this year, and I don't.
So what kind of 60 foot are you aiming for?
Anything under a 1.4 or a 1.5, that's my goal.
1.4. Yeah, that'll be very impressive. And what mile per hour?
The mile per hour, the best that we went so far in this was 129.7, I believe,
Right.
with the Borg Warner, the S257 on the E85
Okay.
with the front wheel drive. So, but I imagine like with all the weight I'm adding to the car and the drivetrain loss, that we might lose a little bit of mile an hour. But since that pass, it was done on a bone stock motor just with a turbo upgrade.
Right.
And this year we've upgraded cams and put a forged bottom
So
end in there.
literally, you may actually pick up more mile per hour.
I'm thinking I might break even, but
think
more
so?
is always nice.
Because with the front wheel, you also have to deal with spinning, right?
Yeah.
Which you had a couple incidents where you just spun.
That's true.
So with the all-wheel drive, yeah, you may have a lower mile per hour, but you may pick up a higher ET.
I'll get a better ET, definitely.
Right.
But yeah, that's basically all I can hope for this year, is just for it to go down the track in one piece, and I'll be very happy with that. And
Okay.
once we reach that goal, then we'll definitely start raising up some more boosts
Some more boosts.
and get
Good
that
to
mile
know.
an hour on as well.
All right, nice. Okay. Well, it was good having you on the channel.
Thank you so much.
So we're gonna do another interview once you get everything running and sorted out. It's always nice to see the project, someone's project when they're doing their work, trying to figure out, okay, what's the best scenario in order to if it's a conversion or engine swap. And it's always good to come back and see the finished product. Most channels only show you a finished product. They don't really show you the pain and the hard work that goes into a finished product. So this is one of the reasons why I started this channel, is to show viewers what it takes, the dedication, the long hours, the financial drainage, in one's account, to get your dreams done, to see what you're able to do, with your imagination and hard work. So hopefully we get to see this bad boy at the track this summer and doing some good times. All right, guys. Later. Dan, thank you very much.
Guys.
All right, peace.